From the Opopco Studios in Oklahoma City, this is an OSU Update with Gina Mizell. I'm Jenny Carlson. Gina, camp opens later this week. Lots to watch as the Cowboys get going this season. What is at the top of your list?
Quarterback, of course. We thought this question was answered, but Mike Gundy continues to insist that he's not going to name a starter until after the first game. So, again, I think that Quinn Sharp is going to be that guy that runs out there with Mississippi State, but sounds like J.W. Walsh is going to get his chances. And so we've tried to ask questions about the quarterback. I've asked Mike Yursich last week at the golf outing. I just said, hey, did either one of them improve on something in the spring, or how did they make strides? Didn't answer. I asked him if he likes having a competition going into fall camp, let the guys keep battling, keep competing. He barely answered and said he doesn't concern himself with that sort of thing. So clearly this is going to be a storyline going through fall camp until we get to that first game. So that's obviously going to be at the top of any list.
A little cloak and dagger being played right now by the Cowboy coaches. But that aside, there are some real position battles, especially at the defensive side of the ball and the defensive line.
Yeah, defensive end I think is the biggest position battle going into fall camp. You got a guy like Tyler Johnson who played linebacker for his first couple seasons at OSU, converted to defensive end last year. He's the only senior and really the only guy with a lot of game experience on that defensive line at the end position. So you got him, assuming he'll start on one side, and then on the other side you got guys like Jimmy Bean, a sophomore who had a really good spring game, had 2 sacks and a forced fumble. A guy like Trace Clark who played a little bit last year. A guy like Sam Wren who is a junior college transfer who was here for the spring. And then some redshirt freshmen, Eric Davis, Emmanuel Ogba, Victor Irokansi, some of these guys that we haven't even really seen play before. So that's going to be kind of fun to see how that shakes out and who ends up starting and who gets in the rotation once the games begin.
Your best guess of who starts?
I think Jimmy Bean will probably start just because of what he has been able to do. I talked to Joe Bob Clements, the defensive line coach, last week, and he said that Jimmy Bean is a guy that stuck out to him from the get-go, a guy who just has that athleticism, has that just ability, that speed off the edge, and so it sounds like he's in a good spot with Joe Bob Clements right now, and if he keeps progressing after that knee injury that forced him to redshirt last season, that he'll be able to contribute this coming season.
One other thing to watch that you'll be looking for is sort of a non-sexy thing to watch, sort of like offensive line, sorry, Joe Wickline, but a non-sexy thing to watch. That is kicker and punter, but it's huge after the departure of Quinn Sharp.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, I think Quinn Sharp is the hardest player to replace that departed from this team last year, possibly even harder than a Joseph Randall type player, just because of everything that Sharp did. Kicking field goals, punting, kickoffs, and so and in the spring, when we asked Mike Gundy about it, he said that it was average at best. So you've got Bobby Stonebreaker and Kip Smith at kicker. You've got Michael Reichenstein at punter. And then you've got incoming freshman Ben Grogan, who was obviously a very highly touted kicker, one of the top-ranked kickers according to recruiting services, and a guy that beat out Jaden Obercrum, who's the starting kicker at TCU, a first-team preseason All-Big 12 selection. They went to the same high school. He beat him out when Obercrum was a senior and he was a junior, so obviously very high expectations. I would definitely expect him to challenge for one or both of those punter and kicker spots because he can punt as well. I would expect him to probably win one of those jobs.
All right. Thanks, Gina. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.